13 project update for September the 1st, 2014 and the week following it. Coming up on September the 10th, we have 50 years since Hurricane Dora, a documentary on that storm in particular, which you may be looking forward to. Just one of the things we're plugging. Jay Smith said on since August 27th, yeah, I'm in first place, but probably not for long, also known as Weather Boy in Predictor Season. He is in first place at last check. We'll see very shortly whether he is still there as of September the 1st. Dolspace says, I'm very interested in how to make these types of videos, even if they're just of pictures I'm flipping through with music playing or my speaking in the background. What program did you use for this, and is it free or do I have to pay for it? Well, the programs I use for this, these videos in particular, are various versions of Serif Movie Plus. Now there are other video editing things out there as well, but the best ones, of course, are not freeware, but there are plenty of freeware things around too. I think if you search around the internet, a quick search should come up with some results. Naval Afan Lathiev says, I hope 2015 is super hyperactive. I predict 30 storms in the Atlantic, 19 storms in the Eastern Pacific, and 29 in the Western Pacific. Well, if you're interested, in the end of November, Predictor Season 2015 will be opening if you want to predict. That Blue Pit says, I find it very interesting that Cristobal, which was a 45 mph tropical storm as he wrote it, had the same barometric pressure as Bertha did as an 80 mph hurricane. Why do you think that is, seeing they both developed in the same general area? Well, the only thing I can really say is looking at the satellite imagery of Hurricane Bertha, you can see as it crossed the island of Hispaniola and the Bahamas, the storm really had trouble getting itself together and just about reached hurricane status. A very compact system and fairly disorganized as well, particularly towards the left-hand side, and that's possibly why it had such a high pressure compared to Cristobal, which was much broader and more organized as it turned out. Well, the next question to you is, what happens next? This was a video submitted in by Cesar the other day. Thanks very much for this usage of this fantastic lightning. As seen from somewhere in Mexico, as far as I know. We could only dream of things like this here in the UK. And look at that for a lightning strike. It must have been extremely close. It certainly seemed that way. But thanks for letting us use that, and thanks for sharing that with us, of course. Cesar. So let's take a look now at the year so far in the Atlantic. The Gulf of Mexico hasn't seen a storm since October the 6th last year. That's the longest time period between storms in that location since 2006. However, that could change soon with the formation of Tropical Depression 5 in that region. If that becomes a hurricane, by the way, it'll be the first time since 1977 where the first 4 named storms were all hurricanes. Of course, we've already had 3, but none of them yet in the Gulf of Mexico. Looking at the Eastern Pacific, the past week has been quiet here as well, but is still running close to record activity. The record holder, 1992, saw the formation of Orlene on September the 2nd. 2014 may see Norbert later this week. 3 hurricanes attained major hurricane strength in August this year, the highest number since 2009. And finally, looking at the Western Pacific, which has disappointed many so far, still awaiting its first storm activity since August the 11th. The storm drought now reaches 21 days, the longest such August/September gap in recorded history. Despite this, it remains unlikely that the West Pacific will see record low activity, because we're only 2 or 3 storms away from that already, but it will still probably be below average, with only 12 or so storms forming so far here. It was doing fairly well at one point, but it's dropped off, flatlined really, in the past 21 days. No activity at all, but there is an invest currently active. As has been the case worldwide, to be honest, 2014 compared, we still are at 50 storms, which was the case at the last project update. 26 of those have become Category 1 hurricanes or their equivalents around the world, and 15 have become Category 3 storms with winds of 115 miles per hour plus. And this graph coming up will be rather telling. You can see the blue line, which is 2014, and it's just stayed absolutely where it's been for quite some time now, and it has dropped away spectacularly from the race to be the most active season on record, which was set by 1992, the red line, which we were beating for quite some time near the beginning of the season, and 1996, the purple line. 2013 is the green line, so we are still ahead of that, just. So let's take a look at the predictor season scores. This is how it looked on August the 27th. The Weather Boy, aforementioned, was in the lead, but since then a new entry has arrived, Jack, and scores 10 points, which is just 10 points away from a perfect prediction. That's how it works. It's sort of reverse scoring, where a perfect prediction scores at 0. No new people breaking into the top 12 apart from Jack, of course, because that's a brand new prediction, and the 3 previous leaders, Weather Boy, Tropical News Tom and Woollyback 82, still in the top 12. All the others have not reached first place before, but NBH Storm has always been in the top 3 or thereabouts, so I wonder if there's any way back for them. But that's the current situation with the top 12. Woollyback 82, one of our feature predictors, down to 11th. New predictions in the past week. There have only been 2 valid predictions. Jack, of course, being in first place, and Spencer, August 14, predicting on September the 1st, though that's only the case because of our time zone differences, probably, but scores 120 points, which puts him in 57th place on the leaderboard out of about 160 or so now. So looking at the feature predictors, the colour scheme's changed a little bit, so people are in different colours if you're used to the current format. So Woollyback is the green line near the bottom there. He's been around and about, though he's dropping back just a little bit. No storms, of course, in the past week, so no changes to any of these predictors. The only change in the whole leaderboard will be new predictions. So things have remained very much the same. The top ones are dropping down generally. F15, myself, Paul Nugent dropping down a little bit too, and Woollyback about to go upwards. The previous leaders are generally on the up. MBH Storm stayed the same, Weather Boy stayed the same, and Jack's right down there near the bottom with only 10 points. So on September the 1st, the combined points total of the top 3 is 110 points, meaning the predictions are going rather well for the top 3. It was 223 points on August the 5th, meaning that wasn't very good. You can submit your predictions at that link there, force13.com/predictorseason_2014.html, but that is a bit of a mouthful, so it's also on the description of this video. You can visit Force 13 on any of its 6 outlets. The website, force13.com, is the main place to be for all the goings-on tropics-wise. The video pages, YouTube and Dailymotion, will have regular updates. Force 13, just search that. And same too for the social platforms, Facebook and Twitter. Just search Force 13 on there, at Force 13 on Twitter. And you can speak to me personally on Skype, add Force 13 on there for tropical weather chat. You can also visit the control room, which keeps you up to date with the Atlantic and Eastern Pacific in a more visual representation, and also the forum, where you can discuss current tropical weather activity with fellow storm trackers. That's all from this project update. The next one will follow in a week's time. Hopefully that will be Monday the 7th of September. That's all for this week.